I highly doubt this episode, so to speak, has been highly anticipated, but here is finally, after probably a 6-month delay, part 2 of restoring a circa 1957 Bassett Lowke Mogul. So, what all has happened in the interim? Well, much. After the last video, that repair attempt actually failed, and then I managed to repair the engine with its original lubricator. And then it was kind of running, but it's never actually run properly. And I believe, well, I'll get onto that in a second. So it was running, but it wasn't running as it should. And I made the foolish decision to buy a Stewart Models drain tap to put in the whistle bushing, because for some reason I didn't like the whistle at the time. I'm not sure why. And that managed to get cross-threaded into the bushing, which broke the solder around the bushing, and then the bushing began spinning in the boiler. And that took 4 months to solve. And now we're up to the present, and we've discovered that the apparent cause of the lack of power, or more so the lack of steam, which is what we've put this down to, was probably a slightly leaking regulator valve. The faces have now been lapped, and they are looking very nice. They haven't been tested on steam, though, because the day they were tested on steam, the boiler bushing broke for the whistle. But the main cause, we think, is the fact that USA standard denatured alcohol only contains 30 to 60% methanol, so it's not as strong as UK denatured alcohol, which is what this was designed to run on. So we think that's the problem. There's basically not enough heat. So that, I'll just continue on into the rest of the video. Okay, so what I'm doing here is rethreading the boiler bushing, which is way back in there. Now I'm retapping it I'm going back through the threads with the 3BA tap, and then I've already retapped the whistle. That's not going to focus, is it? Yeah, I've already retapped that 3BA, so that'll go back up in there, and then the end plate will go back on. Here's the really oily, I don't know how it gets so oily, but here's that, and that goes back up in there. So, yeah, progress at last. Right, so what I'm doing here is I'm reinstalling the regulator base. You can see one of the screws there, just by that frame, and I've got the whistle back in, so the engine is on its side at the moment. So I just finished putting in the bottom regulator linkage screw, which is a really fiddly job, and you have to have the engine on its side for that. So now after this there'll be some sort of time lapse showing me struggling with the other screw, which is out of alignment because I put them back in the wrong way. So this regulator is now working very well. Could use a bit of oil. It's sticking. And then here's the whistle, which opens and closes satisfactorily. And then in the last part of the previous time lapse, I was installing that screw which holds the front bogie on, and it needed some rethreading. So that's why the tap and die set came out momentarily. And the next job is probably going to be to have a look at the burner. Now I have been in contact with Terry R. of Canada, and he has a 1926 very early production, very good looking Mogul. So he's been suggesting various burner adjustments for this, but the main thing to do at the moment is get some higher alcohol content alcohol to put in there, and of course reassemble the track and everything and give it a test run, as this hasn't been steamed since mid-December, I think, was the last time. So that should maybe happen this weekend, but that's quite the maybe. So on to the next segment, if there is one.